I'm Hennessey and welcome to the Outshore channel. Today I'd like to talk a bit about cultural latency. That's what we see around us in society that's not moving, that's not changing, that's not advancing, that's not getting better. In fact, if we look at the way things have gone over the last few hundred years, we seem to be in an oil-based economy, an oil-based reality. Hydrocarbons, petrochemicals are burning things, we're burning atoms to create nuclear fission, we're burning oil, we're burning gases, even our metabolism tends to burn. We're always burning, oxidizing and burning things up. The ultimate end zone of that is that we're turning the world into a burnt up desert as well. Ashes and dust, our legacy. But this isn't a new thing. In Roman times they were using the oxen to do heavy agriculture with, and the big lumbering ox would pull the plough behind it. And after Rome fell, apparently, according to Alan Burford, it took 500 years for man to figure out how to harness a heavy horse for the same duties. And apparently if man had figured out how to harness a heavy horse properly, we would have had intensive agriculture sooner, we would have had specializations in cities, and we would have had a whole renaissance sooner than we even imagined. If things are meant to progress in a telic end-based way, we would have had NASA 500 years ago. Not that that's a particular blessing, as we can see from the way that the NASA data keeps getting faked. Again, that's another one of the reasons why the flat earth theory is starting to come back into prevalence, or more likely why people are being conned into thinking we're on a flat earth. Because after all, if all the NASA images of Earth and images of Moon and planets are all faked and hacked, and if NASA go about faking shuttle footage and all sorts of stuff like that, then people are going to say, well, and quite rightly so, how can we know that NASA are giving us anything? So hence the flat earth theory. People are coming up with these newfangled CGI artwork to demonstrate that the earth is in fact flat. Fair enough, can't blame them. And there was a branch of skepticism called epistemological skepticism, and it was René Descartes that first posited the idea that maybe our reality is somehow controlled by an evil demon. That was Descartes' demon, and we'd never know because it was always feeding stuff into our mind. Well, that idea of the 20th century and its fission and burning oil and burning atoms and burning everything, that idea is called a paradigm, a worldview. Now, for some reason these worldviews never seem to change. I think Galileo was the first guy that had a problem with the earth going around the sun, the Catholic Church and all that, and flat earth theory abounded back then. Although it does seem like we're going full circle, we're not actually really going full circle. What we've done is we've equipped ourselves with digital technology and produced even more paradoxes and more nonsense. And the more nonsense we produce, it all escalates into even more nonsense. Now, case in point is a mathematician called Pierre de Fermat, who in 1637, that's the early 17th century, came up with the idea. He had an equation, x to the n plus y to the n could never ever be equal to z to the n. And apparently it's taken over 350 years to come up with some sort of proof that he was false. And that proof came out in 1995. The thing about Fermat, and the thing about the eggheads, apparently thousands and thousands of mathematicians over the centuries have tried and failed to come up with anything to refute that. But I would put it to you quite simply that there are children working in Walmart in the paint department coming up with Fermat theory solutions every day of the week. Practical solutions to Fermat's theory. Because in actual fact, if you use as an analogy, or metaphysics if you want, if you use the metaphysics of the CMYK colour system, that's cyan, magenta, yellow and black, CMYK, that's the colour system we use in our paints and our colours and stuff like that. It's a mathematical subtractive colour model, and it is a mathematical system. In the mathematical system called CMYK, you can definitely solve Fermat's paradox, and kids are doing it every day of the week. There's an idea that colours have opposites, so red and green equals grey, orange and blue equals grey, purple and yellow equals grey, black and white equals grey. In the CMYK system, the black weighting is the K bit, the amount of black. So there's a graded scale for the amount of black in any one colour, relative black or white in any one colour. So if you had red at Pantone level of 7 and a Y, which would be a green at Pantone level 7, you'd end up with a grey at Pantone level 7. You take that with any opposing colour, you've got a mathematical solution. Certainly, it's a weak solution, albeit, but it is a solution to Fermat's theorem. And kids in Walmart are mixing paints along those lines every day of the week. Incredible, isn't it? The other big paradoxes of our age are the halting problem in artificial intelligence, partly because a computer doesn't know when to stop thinking about things, can never get a measure of big numbers, it's always got labels, and the labels can mean anything, and there's an infinity of labels, and because the computer is processing labels, it never gets to the end of it. Well, anyone with a solution to the halting problem would enable a whole new revolution in information technology on this planet. A solution to the halting problem would change the nature of industries and factories and robotics on this planet, and mankind technically could be living in a utopia or a paradise served by intelligent machines. They call that a semi-executive robotic environment. Well, if you had the solution to the halting problem, you'd be very rich. Even if you had a hint of a solution to the halting problem, you'd have multinational corporations thinking to themselves, my goodness, bring the guy forward, or the girl in fact. Whoever guy or girl solves the halting problem, big time, end of their material woes on Earth, because it will enable Star Trek technologies to take place in artificial intelligence. You're looking at Star Trek now. Now, if only there was a solution to the halting problem, which was noted first by Turing, a very famous man for his codes, these ciphers, but at the end of the day, though, there is a solution to Turing's halting problem. I'm stunned that it's so easy. What you need in order for a computer to get a handle on absolutely everything is a limited scale of 1 to infinity. Now, 1 to infinity is limitless in the decimal numbering system, but if you were to choose a metaphysical numbering system, 1 to 3 to the power 6 is the way it works out. 1 to 729. If 729 was infinity, and you had 1 and 729, a limited set system of metaphysics would definitely have no problems being intelligent at the end of the day. And I have actually developed this system. I call it tripartite essentialism. And if you go to my slideshare.com and look for Scottish Andrew, you'll see various presentations and on how to justify this metaphysics, how it's a natural law, how it's not just something arbitrary that I made up, or how it is a natural law-like process. So you'll find this metaphysics on slideshare.com/Scottish Andrew. Now, this solution to the halting problem also solves other paradoxes too, like logic apparently is suffering from the same problem as Turing. Logic, there's an endless number of labels for logic, and you can't actually get a complete set. Yes, you can, using this system I'm talking about. It's an essentialist metaphysics. No halting problem, now it's all solved. Now we've got an era of wonderful utopia. The other thing was the physics, the God particle and all that. Well, there can't be a God particle. How could there possibly be a single, smallest ever, single-sized, it's being presented to us that there is one small building block and that's it. It can't get any smaller, it can't get any bigger. The smallest building block is the smallest building block, and it is called the God particle. Which, to be honest, if you're really looking at the way things are, it has to be a joke. Because if we're living in a universe that's absolutely chaotic, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy or supercluster, you're looking at chaos forms all over the place. Vortexes, Jupiters, red spots, swirling vortexes on Earth, swirling vortexes creating sound forms, creating particle waveforms, hydrogen somatics, all this stuff. It's all to do with quite simple processes to do with chaos. That chaos theory was investigated and initiated at the Santa Fe Institute in the early 1990s. I actually don't know what's happened to chaos theory now, but chaos theory started to uncover natural laws of the universe, like the law of emergence, that structure would emerge out of chaos. It's not just a Masonic motto, structure emerges out of chaos. It's the hidden law to the universe that nobody wants to talk about, including the scientists. Because if scientists were talking about emergence, they wouldn't be talking about the Big Bang Theory anymore. Because the Big Bang Theory is something about the universe. It explodes, it gets bigger, it dies. But if you've got chaos in the picture, then the Big Bang Theory won't come to heat death. It'll always reheat. It'll always re-emerge. It'll always get warmer, and there'll be an equilibrium between heating and cooling in the universe. There's no death in no Big Bang Theory. It doesn't make sense. So we're looking at whole paradigms, whole worldviews, whole ways of seeing the universe that are kept from us and hidden from us. Historically, that's kind of been the case too. When you think about around about 1000 AD, the Chinese Navy consisted of armour-plated, sailless paddle boats with cannonades. And they had a huge fleet. That fleet never sailed south and conquered the treasure zones of India where all the gold and gems are. They never sailed down the coast. Don't know why they never sailed down the coast, but they never sailed. Can you think of that? You see all these martial arts movies and all these highly intelligent Chinese warlords looking for gold and treasure to finance enormous campaigns, pay for mercenary armies, pay for the rebuilding of cities and moving capital from south to north and building these incredible structures and all that. They had a huge need for refinancing themselves all the time. The Chinese were so active. You would think that with the Chinese being so active that they would get in their paddle ships, armour-plated paddle ships with cannons. I mean, incredible. No one would stand a chance if they sailed south. They never thought about doing that. Why the heck not? So the follies of ancient history repeat themselves in modern science and modern technology. Did we not go to the moon? Did we not go to Mars? Who's we? We doesn't seem to be that human when you think about it. But I think that if we looked at the solutions to all these scientific paradoxes and took them on board and investigated them, go to slideshare.com/Scottish Andrew and check out these presentations and documents. Okay, some of the documents might be a bit off-centre or obtuse, but the basic logic and the set of assumptions, check all that out. That really is the beginning of truth. Might be aware of the fact that we're not living in a very truth-filled world. It's a world full of lies and deceit and nonsense. And whereas people might enjoy the reality of wooden carts and pulled by horses with a DVD player on the front wooden bench, which is basically the equivalent of the motor industry at the moment anyway, there are all these bizarre follies coming up, bizarre technological designs, obsolescence, all that stuff. It's all happening before our eyes. This world is not a truth-filled world. And where even basic logical truth is being dismissed in favour of real nonsense, what have we got left to work for? Well, no one can say that we don't have a prayer, and we've always got that option if we want. But right at this point in time, if you really want to check out something logical I've got software, I've got solutions to paradoxes, I've got cosmology, I've got quantum physics, I've got artificial intelligence, proper artificial intelligence, I've got the solution to mapping isomorphism between domains. Yeah, well, what more can you want? So just check it out. Thanks very much.